how Virgil van Dijk could counter Haaland's rise to the top. There has been a lot of fanfare associated with Haaland's arrival at the Etihad. The transfer is being touted as a game changer, and many are claiming that with Haaland at the front, nothing could stand in City's way.
Manchester City enjoy a 12th minute lead.
Of course, it's Holland. Jack Grealish does everything right here. Good start for Man City and that man there.
Well, there are some defenders who will have something to say about that. Hello and welcome to our channel Erling Braut Haaland Live. Today we're going to tell you why Virgil van Dijk could counter Haaland's rise to the top. But before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe. Also hit the bell icon so that you can get instant updates about our videos. Haaland is finally making the move to Manchester City. This transfer has set up City as a definite contender, not only for English glory, but to become champion of champions by winning the prestigious UEFA Champions League. The citizens will be led in the front by Haaland as he looks to frighten defences all over England. The striker, who was born in Leeds, is very difficult to stop when he's on his game because he's tall, as powerful as an ox, incredibly swift for a man of his height, and great with the ball at his feet. Defences in the Premier League are going to have a tough time dealing with him, that much is certain. However, there is one player who's now competing in the English Premier League, who's already demonstrated to Haaland who the boss is, and that man's name is Virgil van Dijk. The Rolls-Royce of a defender was able to deal with Haaland as he was in full flow during Liverpool's Champions League match against Red Bull Salzburg in the 2019-20 season. Big Virg is doing what he does best, which is embarrassing some of the top forwards in the world. Because no one else performs what he does quite like him, many people believe that he is the best defender in the entire universe. Both Naby Keita and Mohamed Salah scored for Liverpool in the second half of their match at the Red Bull Arena, which led to the Reds' eventual 2-0 victory.
And he's beaten the goalkeeper. Oh wow! Oh wow! That is absolutely unreal! What a finish from Mohamed Salah!
Even though they blew a 3-0 lead in the first half, Jurgen Klopp's team came back to win the return match at Anfield by a score of 4-3. It was Haaland who scored the goal that brought Salzburg to level, but it was Salah who scored the goal that ultimately decided the game with 20 minutes still to play. The first fixture was the first time that any team had stopped Haaland from scoring in a Champions League game. When asked in the past about the most difficult defensive opponent he's faced, Haaland responded, Virgil van Dijk. He was exceptional in the field. Not only does it matter how big he is, how powerful he is, and how swift he is, but also how well he can time his moves. I don't believe I've ever prevailed against him in a duel. Ramos was incredibly bright and talented, so you could go with any option. They've come into contact with one another since then, specifically during a World Cup qualifier between Norway and the Netherlands, in which Haaland caused his opponent to break a finger. During a World Cup qualifier between Norway and the Netherlands, the two teams came face-to-face on the field and engaged in a mouth-watering striker versus centre defender battle for the entirety of the match. The fact that they are both absolute behemoths ensured that this would be the outcome, but things became so rough that it appeared that Van Dijk suffered a dislocation of his finger at the beginning of the second half of the game. The Dutch skipper's finger was popped back into place with the assistance of medical experts, and then it was wrapped up for the remainder of the game. Van Dijk was making his return to duty on the international scene following a protracted period off following a catastrophic knee surgery suffered in the Merseyside derby in October 2020. The injury forced Van Dijk to miss a large portion of his time away from the competition. He's been playing for Liverpool and the Netherlands recently, and in both of those games, he's looked like the dominant version of himself. In this game, it was Haaland who came out on top between the two players in the first half, as the Borussia Dortmund striker ghosted in behind Van Dijk inside the opening 15 minutes to test Netherlands keeper Justin Bijlo with a decent effort. 5 minutes later, Haaland scored the first goal, expertly handling a lofted pass before angling a shot into the bottom left corner of the Dutch goal. Van Dijk's late sliding attempt to block the ball was ineffective. Despite the joy on social media, which in and of itself is a testament to the Liverpool defender's talent, the Netherlands captain played no significant role in the goal. Later in the first half, Davy Klaassen, a former Everton midfielder, headed home a cross from Gini Wijnaldum to give the Netherlands a point. In the second half, after losing his marker during a quick Norwegian counter-attack, Haaland rattled the woodwork. However, the game ended as a draw, with the score being 1-1. After the game, Haaland said that Van Dijk made a foul-mouthed comment to the Borussia Dortmund striker when he told him that he was responsible for the slight injury to the striker's finger. Speaking before the game, Haaland acknowledged Van Dijk was the best defender he'd ever faced. He is the best defender, and I don't really fear anyone, according to him. Haaland also stated in a news conference that, "I believe quite a few others in the room agree with me on that. There are 3 things you must have. He's fast, strong, and effing smart." After playing twice against him, I declared that he was the best I had ever encountered. We must attempt to play around him since he's a good player. Van Dijk also thinks highly of Haaland and believes that the striker is an amazing player and is destined for great things. We can expect an electrifying encounter when City goes up against Liverpool this season. As for Van Dijk, the man is full of confidence about his abilities. During an interview with Dutch outlet Ziggo, the defender was asked if he is the best defender in the world. He maintained his humility while claiming that he earned his move from the Saints to Liverpool 4 years prior. Van Dijk answered, "You should always have faith in yourself. I'm not going to claim to be the world's top defender, but I do believe that I merited the transfer to Liverpool. I've always been able to maintain a really steady level. The toughest thing there is that. Playing at least a 6 is always recommended. It's difficult, especially when you play so many games, but I'm delighted I've been able to do that for the past 4 seasons, the athlete said. Now, let us tell you a little about Van Dijk's career in Liverpool to give you an idea of what this player is capable of. Van Dijk signed a contentious £75 million transfer to Liverpool in January 2018 after spending 2 seasons at Southampton. The Dutchman was originally expected to join Liverpool for £60 million in the summer of 2017, but the Reds were forced to apologise to Southampton after making an unlawful offer. Before Harry Maguire's £78 million deal from Leicester City to Manchester United in 2019 broke it, the transfer cost for Van Dijk was the highest ever for a defender. Van Dijk became the first player since Bill White in 1901 to score on his debut in the Merseyside derby, with his goal against Everton in the 3rd round of the FA Cup. Despite Liverpool losing to Real Madrid in the Championship game, Van Dijk was named to the 2017-18 Champions League Team of the Season. However, he would experience Champions League success just a year later, as Liverpool won the tournament with a 2-0 victory over Tottenham Hotspur. He was not only named the game's man of the match by UEFA, but he was also named to the PFA Team of the Year for the season's Premier League play. Van Dijk, who's regarded as one of Jurgen Klopp's best acquisitions, was the only player to appear in each and every minute of Liverpool's 2019-20 Premier League season, which saw them snap a 30-year title drought. Van Dijk not only made a significant contribution to Liverpool's 15 clean sheets, but he also scored 5 goals in the league, one of which came in Liverpool's 2-0 victory over Manchester United in the 2020 Northwest Derby. Van Dijk and Jurgen Klopp have a wonderful yet straightforward relationship. Since moving to Merseyside, Van Dijk has added serenity and toughness to Liverpool's back line. He said in an interview that he and Klopp share a unique bond. And he made sure I was coming here, for which I will always be grateful. He's just a great all-round manager with a well-defined strategy. So that is all the time we had today, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and do hit the bell icon on your way out. Adios.